Hi, this is a continuation of the Entrepreneurship recordings, Walk and Talk by Michael McAnally, CEO of Touch Voice, founder and developer. Personality, wow, that's a big one. What kind of personality do you have as a founder, as a innovator, an entrepreneur? Um, I've seen all kinds. Uh, you tend to be bold, not always verbally, but sometimes you are when you have a strong opinion. You tend to be organized. That means that if you're trying to pull off entrepreneurship under ADD situations, I highly recommend against it. It requires analysis, thought, and strategy. Those require discipline in terms of, I can party as good as the rest of them, but I can't spend all my time just having a good time. There's some things that you're going to have to do as an entrepreneur that you don't like doing, like taxes, um, accounting, keeping receipts, uh, monitoring expenditures, deciding to go with a less than perfect product sometimes in hopes of improving it later. Compromises on who you get to help you. I mean, personalities aren't always ideal. And trading off. Sometimes you might have to do some work for someone else just to get something in return. Friendships are great, and that's wonderful, but usually you're more of a co-worker or a co-founder with your other entrepreneurial buddy. Um, so you want to have a friendly relationship, but you don't want to get personal in the sense that, oh, you did that to me, I did that to you, and you need to do this for me. No, it's not that at all. It's more about having a common goal and working towards it. And the dynamic of personalities that can work together is sometimes really strange and wonderful. And that's all I want to say about it. Um, Trust. Do you trust other people? And are you a good person? Everyone thinks they're a good person, but I mean, when it really comes down to it, when you have to make those hard decisions, are you a good person? And one thing you should always factor in, okay, is your reputation, because you're going to have to live with that reputation, all right? If you want a reputation as a top class asshole, then this is your chance. So instead, think about what other people need. Try to provide it to them without compromising your business objectives. All right? So, I mean, if they're moving in a certain direction and you're going to need to move in that direction as well, figure out how to use those energies together to further the business. So it's easier, you know. So I'm going to have to use some cliches when we talk here to shorten the conversation, and you're going to be here for half an hour or more. So I'm going to try to do it in a very short time period. But, swimming upstream is a lot harder than swimming downstream. So if you can get the objectives going in the direction of your objectives, of your goals as an entrepreneur, then and I say objectives, milestones, accomplishments, tasks, subtasks. You need to break it down, and you need to strategize how to run it in parallel, like a project manager. So here's one task, and here's another task running right under it. But they're not running counter to each other. They're running in the same direction, and there's a point where they join. Okay, so there's a dependency, usually a dependency. So for example, okay, you can't start selling a product until you have a product or service, so that's an obvious, right? So yeah, you can talk it all up and everything, and plan it all out on slides and diagrams and schemas and blueprints and whatever you want to say, but you can't really start selling it unless you're selling an idea or a patent, and those are special situations which I don't have much experience in, so I don't really want to talk about those. But and patents are very expensive if you research it. Okay, so also you want something that is intellectual property, that is proprietary, that is unique, that someone can't just go and pull a whole bunch of things off the shelf and recreate it without having to put some sort of effort, energy, work into it. Okay, so you're going to be working your ass off, and if you think you aren't, then just stop right now. Okay, you're wasting your time watching this video. Okay, you better be willing to work. It's not all talk. You've got to produce. Okay, and you're expecting others to do the same. We may not be all doing the same thing. Okay, but we're all going in the same direction, okay? And sometimes you're going to have to make the hard decisions and cut people loose, okay? Sometimes you're going to have to leave a group and forge on your own, okay? But you don't want to do that too much, okay? Because if you do, then you become like the hermit loner entrepreneur, somewhat like what I am in a way, because I take on too many tasks, I wear too many hats, I have to do all those things, and there's no substituting for experience. And if you don't have experience and you're young and you're starting out, you've got to get it. And the only way to get it is to do it, right? You can learn it in a school, and if you have the money and time, I advise that, of course, all right? I advise not trying to do your own taxes, to hire a tax accountant, okay? If you have the money to spend, but you're always going to be looking for getting things done in a shoestring sort of way, right? So you don't want to, right along the freeway here, it's pretty nice, but a little noisy. So we're going to diverge off path here. And that's another thing. Stop for a moment. Your idea, it may pivot. If you don't know what pivoting is, look it up in terms of business. You may need to change directions, but look, I've been coming down from here. If I change in a perpendicular direction, okay, I'm going a counter to my flow, okay, there's going to be some energy required to change course, right? So if you constantly change course, right and left and up and down and all around, basically you're wasting your energies towards your goal, because your goal is constantly changing. It's in a different direction, okay? This is metaphorical speaking, but I think you understand. So, you want to stay with your idea, but you also don't want to be rigid. You don't want to be able to not break off the path and go in a different direction because there's something of interest over there, And so how else to advise? You need to study business, because you're going to have to do all the paperwork for the business, okay, or get someone to do it and trust them about it, okay? You're going to have to keep ownership of the business and responsibility for it, okay? I say business, company, organization, anything short of a loose form philosophy, because you're going to need more than just that to make this happen, okay? You're going to need practical people, and you're going to need dreamers. And you got to resolve the differences between them. Sometimes the dream outweighs, and sometimes the practical outweighs. And you need to decide between the dream and the practical, okay, to stay the course, okay, towards your goals, which in essence is something you should be evaluating yourself as you go along. And you need to look back at where you've been, okay, and see the mistakes in the road, okay, and make sure you learn from those to sort of avoid the mistakes that are going to be coming up. Because anybody who thinks they're perfect and a perfect executor will learn interesting things like hype cycles and, like by the Gartner Group, if you look at that, tips and links about how to be a better entrepreneur, meetup mistakes, following up and not following up, and saying the wrong thing at the wrong time, telling some scientists, for example, that you think this is going to happen only because you're a science fiction writer and not a scientist, and having them like tell you you don't know what you're talking about, and maybe or maybe not be right. I mean, that's just wild out there sort of um, uh, 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 statement about futurism. You have to have an eye for the future as well, and you have to have eyes for the competition. Okay. And you have to respect their intellectual property. You're not here to one-off someone else's idea. If you are, then you're not very innovative, okay? You're not very fair, okay? And you deserve whatever lawsuit you get, okay? So, also, although I think there are exceptions in some lawyers being good people, and I don't want to say anything in that ways, but they are lawyers. They're out to either figure a way to help you or hurt you, and you shouldn't get that confused with what you need to do to protect yourself and legally, because when you create your business entity, you're going to be deciding what type of business type you want. You know, a corporation limits your liability, but it's also more expensive. Okay, and if you're going to eventually sell or have an exit plan from your business, you should be looking these things up. And not everything is disruption in terms of business model. Sometimes you're in such a new space, you really don't know where you're going, and you're just searching. You're turning around looking for ways to go. Oh my God, that's interesting, huh? It's never had a path made except for by, maybe some early people doing tests and things. Oh wow, could that be a whole new wide opportunity? No one knows, but it's sure going to be hard cutting through there. Do you want to take the rough course? The rewards are long-term rewards rather than short-term rewards. So you need to think about things like that. Okay, so this is a lot of advice, a lot of thinking. I hope I spurred some thought paths for you. Oh, look at the squirrel there. He's climbing the tree. See, he's got a goal. Get up the tree. Now, what happens if he falls down? Well, there are risks. And we hope to learn from them, hope to survive them, of course, too. But, sometimes it's a long way down. So be careful out there. And enjoy what you're doing, because it's hard work. Okay? And I hope I opened your eyes to that. And have a good day.